Hello, my fellow high flyers. Are you worried about making your first mistake in real estate and that's what's keeping you on the sidelines? Today we're talking with John Paul Kilduff. He goes by JP. He is a retired veteran of the United States Coast Guard. Our goal today is to provide you with extra information to help you achieve new heights. Welcome to the Aim High Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aim High Podcast. Today I'm joined by JP Kilduff, very close friend and mentor. JP, how you doing today?
Good, man. How's it going, bud?
Doing great as always, brother. You know, it's always great when I get to see you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I absolutely love the logo that's soaring behind you, man. The Aim High logo is legit, bro. Very patriotic.
Yeah, brother. You would know. Listen, being Coast Guard, me being Air Force, we both have that connection. JP, why don't you give me a quick introduction? Tell me about yourself.
I think it would be best probably to start with first and foremost, I'm a veteran, 20 years in the United States Coast Guard. I was going down a bad path in my life. I was really going nowhere fast, and I was hanging out with all the people that I grew up with. And I could just tell, man, like seeing what was happening with everybody around me, I was just like, that's not going to be me. And luckily I had my stepfather was in my ear growing up, and he was always like, hey man, you should like call the military, go take a test. So I went to the Navy and I took the test, and I tested really high. And then he was just like, what about the Coast Guard? And I'm like, the what? He's like, the Coast Guard. I'm like, what is the Coast Guard? I didn't even know what the Coast Guard was at that point. Probably a lot like most people. A lot of people don't even know what the Coast Guard is. And so I ended up calling 2 weeks later, dude. I was down. I was talking to the recruiter, and 2 weeks after that, I was off to boot camp. Thank goodness, because while I was gone, man, a lot of my friends either ended up in jail or just they're no longer with us. It was like the best thing that's happened to me. And while I was in the military, I learned how to work on computers and telephones, because that was going to be the wave of the future back in 2000. And then halfway into my career, I was lucky enough to become a drill instructor and be able to train young men and women just like myself for 3 years. So watching them come in and not know how to shave their face or wipe their ass, then in 8 weeks be able to leave with a ton of confidence and conviction and being able to go out and serve the country, man. And that's when I realized, like, it wasn't about computers and telephones for me at that point anymore. It was more about leadership and development and mentorship and just the human aspect and just pouring into people. Right after I became a drill instructor, I quickly realized that IT wasn't going to be the gig for me. So I started to look for what was my exit strategy going to be coming out of the military. And that's when I found real estate, dude. I heard an ad on the radio for a real estate education company, called them up, went through their whole funnel, ended up in their program, and just had an amazing experience. I'm very coachable. I'm always a student of the game, and I love structure, and that's exactly what that education company provided. And so fast forward 6 years, I've got 7 companies now all within the real estate space. I've retired back to my home here in Florida with my beautiful family. I've got a wife and 3 children, and life is good, dude.
You've always been crushing it. You've always crushed it since I've known you. We'll attribute that to the military, to the discipline and
100%.
the execution of what we were taught in the military.
Agreed, man. That it's definitely something that the initiative, the self-discipline, the respect, just like the accountability, like all of that, the structure was really something that I took away from the military, and it really helped me crush it.
So let's talk about how you started. What was your first deal?
So my first deal, so I joined this program in March of 2016. And then after my first coach call, they were like, okay, you need to go out, you need to find a real estate agent, and you need to start submitting offers. And I'm like, okay, roger that, sir. So I left my coach call. I found a real estate agent, and I was able to impress him basically with the basic knowledge that I had. And he took me out to see 10 properties that day. And back in 2016 in this area, which was South Jersey, City, right outside of Atlantic City. You know that area
Yeah, I
very
do.
well.
Yeah.
It was very depressed and there was a lot of foreclosures. So really, dude, you could go on the MLS and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. Like literally, like you could close your eyes and go, okay, stop, and point at the screen and say, all right, we're going to go see that one today, and put an offer. And oftentimes, if you were competitive enough, you could have won it. And my first one, 2 weeks into the program, into real estate investing, we saw 10 properties. I put 10 offers and I got my 10th one accepted on the property that actually needed the least amount of work. I was pretty happy that it was that one and not any of the other ones that we saw.
Yeah. But you know what? The point was, like, you were told, hey, go take action. And you took massive action, like right out the gate, immediately jumped into it and started running, right?
Yeah, 100%. Dude, I really think that's really a motto that I live by is our ready, fire, aim. So I totally believe it's about taking action. And then after you take action, that's when you're going to get clarity on what you're doing, right? That's when you can really hone in on what it is that you're going to do. It's really hard to do that sitting here and really thinking about, okay, what are the possibilities that could happen if I did take action? It's like, no, I have to take action to know where I'm going and know what I need to do next.
So let's go through it real quick. What was the purchase price on the property?
So the purchase price was 105, and the rehab was going to be, oh no, I'm sorry. The purchase price was 60, my bad. The purchase price was $60,000. The rehab was going to be around $30,000 and the resale was going to be around 140. Using the standard max allowable offer formula, the ARV times 70% minus the repairs, it was like 60 was a perfect offer, and they accepted it.
Now, since you've done that, you've grown a bit. Would you have kept that property and rented it, or would you have still flipped it at this point?
So really what the biggest thing that ended up happening is, so while I'm finding an agent and getting a property under contract, that really forces me to go out and do a couple of new things. Now I got to find a contractor and I have to find money. And so one of the big things that happened, I went through 2 or 3 different contractors and I really put these contractors through the ringer. And I found the one that like literally was like making it through every single step. And also he was like almost one step ahead of me, which was a red flag now that I look at it. But back then I'm like, oh, this dude's legit. Like I found the one. Well, what ended up happening was there was a septic issue. He looked at the septic and he had one of his buddies write the septic is good letter for me. Mm-hmm. So that way it would give me the confidence I need to go forward with his $30,000 budget. Cause he knew I only had 30,000. Right. And he knew if we found out that the septic was bad, that would really blow the budget. And so he had this letter written, septic is good. Here's the rest of the offer, or here's the rest of the contract for the rehab. And we ended up going forward. Probably it was the second draw. He did demo, everything went awesome. And then when it came to the roof, he asked me for the money for the materials right up front. And at that point, after he had already done everything that he did, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I gave him the $6,000 that he needed for the roof. I went to a conference and I came back a week later and I'm like, where's Kevin? Why is the roof not done? I'm like knocking on the neighbor's door. I'm like, yo, have you seen this dude? And they're like, no, he hasn't been there for like 2 weeks. He came 2 weeks ago. He pulled all of his stuff off and he left. It was a kick in the junk. But I mean, like, not only, and so like after that, I started to really dig into him, his company, and the quote. And that's when I found out the septic was bad. Yeah. So not only did I lose $5,000 or $6,000 for the roof, now I've got a almost $18,000 septic system that I have to take care of as well. Dude, that was all my profit right there. Any profit that I had built in, that was it. Right. So the idea was to flip the property. And then when that happened, I had to really start evaluating, what am I going to do with this property? I definitely did not feel ready to make it a rental property for my very first property 2 months into the game. You know what I mean? I'm tracking you, buddy. What was like, so this is the beautiful thing. there's silver linings in everything that happens in real estate, right? You get kicked in the junk with a guy who runs off with money. Guess what? Now you're going to have a better contractor onboarding system. You get kicked in the junk and all your profits gone. And now you're thinking like, how the hell am I going to pay my private money lenders? Guess what? Now you add a new wrinkle to your game. And this is what I did. I was like, I better go out and figure out how to wholesale some properties to be able to pick up a little bit of extra money to keep this project going. And also to be able to pay off my private money lenders. And I did, bro. It was like, I really kicked up my marketing game, and I ended up wholesaling 3 properties while I was rehabbing that property, which I probably would have never done, right? Like the motivation for me to go out and do that and spread what I was doing so thin that early in the game probably wouldn't have happened had I not had that motivation for me to figure out what am I going to do about the money. So it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. They say best education is failure, right? Or at least I say that. As long as you're failing forward. And that's exactly what you did.
As long as you're learning and you're improving because of it, then failure is amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah, man, absolutely. What do you have going on now? You got a current project?
So we just transitioned back to Florida. We just moved here this summer. So we currently have the relaunch going on. If you guys were to go to all my social, you'll see that Anchored Homes is relaunching. And really what that looks like is I dialed back all my operations in 2020. I separated from all my partnerships because I knew I was going to be transitioning to Florida. I wanted to start clean. And that's what's going on right now. Is like these last couple of months have just been me really documenting the process of getting Anchored Homes back up and running in a brand new market with all of the knowledge that I have right now, because I really believe, like, regardless of how much experience, how many deals, how much money, and even how much knowledge I have, what I'm going through relaunching Anchored Homes in this market, it's really what a lot of people go through whenever they're launching any company in the real estate game. It's what I went through back in 2016. The only difference is like the honeymoon phase is over, bro. So it's like all of, you remember what it was like when you first started. It was like, everything was awesome. It didn't really matter. Like everything was awesome. But now it's once you've been there and you go through that the second time around, it's what's on the other side of that door if you open it. It's no longer this like ignorance is bliss mentality. It's like, I already know what's on the other side of that door. So it really creates a different approach to it. And so that's why I was like, I need to document this, because there's a lot of people that go through this, and I just wanted to really just put it out there.
Yeah, man. And I'm following all that stuff. So I'll make sure that all of your links are in the bio or in the description when we're done. This is also going to be on YouTube, so it'll be in the comment section as well. So check it out. What's on the horizon? You're standing up the new business. You got anything else? Like you went from working in the business at one point to working on the business, then you shut it down, you moved it to a new place, you're standing it all up again. Is there anything else, or are you just going to continue doing this?
Yeah, man. So there's always something else, right? Yeah. I think that's like the gift and the curse of being an entrepreneur and having an entrepreneurial mindset is like, we're wired to see opportunity. We're wired to solve problems. We're wired to see gaps and then create something to fill that gap. And that's really been like the last couple of years for me, is like, there's been so many gaps in services that I use in my real estate business that it's like my whole goal was really, it's the people that they strike oil and then they're like using trucks and they're like, hell, let me just buy the trucks. And then they're like, let me just buy the warehouse and let me just buy let me just own the entire thing. And so that's been my approach over the last couple of years. Starting a social media management company, starting a skip tracing company. I just started a CRM company, and I have a coaching business to help coach real estate investors as well. And so it's as I'm going through it and I'm identifying gaps, I'm just like, I know I can solve that. I know I can do that better with amazing customer service, and because I know what I want and I know what other people want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say right now, like the biggest thing for me, yes, Anchored Homes, getting that up and running, but also we're really building out our skip tracing service and
man.
our CRM company.
Yeah.
And so those have been two huge focuses for me. And really the anchored homes, at the end of the day, real estate is how you build wealth.
Yes. Agreed.
Putting out bandit signs, wholesaling, flipping, it's a part of the game. It's not how you build wealth. So I'm doing that right now. I've got a 19-year-old son who I'm trying to teach the game. So I'm doing a little bit of that so he could pick up on it. But really, after doing it for a couple of months and getting it stood back up, I'm realizing like, yo, I don't want to be in the flipping game anymore. I don't want to be in the wholesaling game anymore. I want to be like Bud. I want to own a bunch of freaking units and apartment complexes and get back to where I was in my portfolio. And this whole relaunch has really allowed me to really just think about, look, dude, you've got all this experience and all this knowledge. Like you should be stepping up to a syndication or commercial or just more passive than what you are. So that's really what's on the horizon for me is I'm looking to really get into that multifamily syndication commercial type deal next.
Awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Yeah. That's the thing, growing that generational wealth, that wealth that's going to be around for a really long time. I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. The difference between rich and wealthy, the rich make a lot of money and then they spend a lot of money, where the wealthy have assets that pay them in addition to that income that, you're just accumulating assets and accumulating assets that continue to drive more income into your pocket so that you can do more bougie stuff.
More bougie stuff. I'm all about that, man. Pinkies up.
That's it, buddy. Take that drink and that's it. Just go with it. Drink the espresso with the pinky out. That's fantastic. So speaking of wealth versus riches, right? What is one thing that you learned as you increased your income and wealth?
Yeah, dude, this is actually, again, I think this year has really brought a lot of awarenesses to me. And one of the big things that I think that I've taken away, especially like considering like what you're saying, is legacy, right? Wealth is a mindset, which is that's a legacy, right? Like I like for the longest time, I used to think legacy was I'm going to build up my portfolio and then I'm going to grind to get this thing as big and successful as I can. And then I'm going to hand it off to my family. So that way, when I'm dead and gone, they can enjoy it. That was my idea of legacy. That was wealth. And now what I realize, bro, is like through this whole thing, it's no, legacy is right now.
Yeah.
Like the wealth is not just what's in my bank account, but it's what's in my head. It's what I can transfer to my kids right now. So that way they don't have to be 40 like I am and just now coming into this. They can be 19 and have the mindset, the wealth mindset, the growth mindset at the age of 19 rather than 40. And so that's the one thing that I've learned because, dude, I made a lot of money flipping. And what I realized is like, I had this idea of, okay, I'm going to be happy and successful when I hit this goal. That ain't what it's about, bro. You know what I mean? And as cliche as it is, it's funny. It's cliche because it's true, right? It's like you have to enjoy the ride, enjoy what you have right now. And that's what I realize is like, I start looking around at what I determine success and I'm going to be happy when I get there. And it's like, dude, I've got it. I've got it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like slowing down to enjoy what I have. I have a beautiful family. I've got a beautiful house. I've got all these thriving businesses. And so it's like, really, that's the wealth mindset right there. That's the wealth mindset. That's what I learned.
Being able to spend time with family. I didn't figure this out till I was 48 years old. By 49, really got into it. And now I'm 53, really taken off, but we were able to pick up and just go away for 3 weeks and hit Spain.
Dude, I saw your pictures. They were amazing.
It's just, that's what it's all about. Being able to pick up and actually do that and then teach other people how to do that as well. It's not only yourself, not only, your family, but also impart that knowledge to others. And the one thing that I found is that this industry in and of itself, and I learned this from you, dude, with everything that you've taught me over the last 4 years, man, here it is. This is all about collaboration more than it is about competition. Right. I know all the wholesalers in South Jersey. I know other flippers in South Jersey. I know guys buying rental properties in South Jersey, and we'll have conversations. And it's not about, oh, dude, you stole that house from me. It's more, oh, dude, you got that one. Let me know if you got another one that you can't pick up and I'll take it from you.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir. Collaboration over competition. It's huge,
that's absolutely
bro.
right, man. So let's go on to the Soaring Four. The Soaring Four are 4 questions that I ask every guest that can help someone starting out and maybe get them to achieve new heights. You ready?
I'm ready, bro.
All right,
Always
buddy, here we
ready.
go.
Semper
Yes,
Parata.
absolutely. And listen, I know the answer to this one, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. What do you use to keep motivated?
Coffee. Black Rifle coffee. That's why I'm wearing the shirt.
Link in the bio. I got
Link
an
in the
affiliate with
bio.
them too, buddy.
No,
It's all good, man.
I'm just messing. I think it's my team and my family, bro. Like I really am. I was just sharing with you the other day, bro. It's like I find my motivation by pouring into other people and then just watching those people succeed. And so it's like taking the time to pour into my family, to my team, and then watching them flourish and thrive and do things that they didn't even think was possible. Like using the belief that I have in them to accomplish something that they didn't even know that they can do, bro. That's what motivates me. That's what motivated me as a company commander, a drill instructor at the Coast Guard boot camp. Still is what motivates me today.
Awesome. All right. I think I might know the answer to this one too. And this is not, I went into the military. You're not allowed to use that one. So here it is. What's one thing that you learned that completely changed your mindset?
So just recently, I just got back from Congo, Africa. And the one thing that I learned over there, and this really goes back to one of the things that we just talked about, the one thing that I saw that I was completely off track on was the idea of legacy. Everybody over there, their legacy is now. It's not something you leave to somebody. It's now. It's what am I doing to set my family up? What's the mindset that I can give them that's going to allow them to take care of themselves as well and carry on the name. The legacy is the name, and the name is happening right now. It doesn't happen when I leave, right? So that was the one thing really, like when I came back from Congo, I completely shifted the way that I was approaching all of my businesses, all of my conversations with my kids. And then really like, dude, maybe you saw it, but like my son and I are now reading the book Think and Grow Rich. That was huge for me, man. That trip to Congo and seeing what legacy right now looks like, it's so much more powerful than the idea of leaving an inheritance, which is what I was thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, man. That's a fantastic point. Thank you. All right. So let's
Am I blowing your mind yet? Am I?
Yeah, dude, yeah, absolutely. Every time we talk, I pick up nuggets of wisdom. Absolutely. Every time we talk. So
that's awesome.
What do you use to keep you on track?
Google Calendar is my best friend. I live and die by my calendar. It's one of those things that if I put it in my calendar, it's almost like I throw my hands up and I'm just like, hey, Google says I've got to be here. So I've got to be there. So it's like, I use that as the organizational tool. And here's the one tip that I have in regards to that. If you are going to consider using Google Calendar as the way to keep you organized, if you put something into your calendar, do not compromise on whatever that is. At least show up for that appointment. And if you have to then end it early, that's fine. But don't compromise on that appointment, because the first time that you compromise, you've now allowed yourself to know that it's okay to not keep my promises to myself. It's okay to violate my own boundaries that I have for my time, right? And so it's like, if you're going to use something like a Google Calendar, you have to you have to respect the boundaries that you're creating for your time, for yourself, and for everybody else.
Yeah, man. I'll be doing a live on SJ Ran this weekend, and we're going to be talking about time blocking specifically.
Beautiful, dude. Time blocking.
Where did I learn that from, JP?
Stop it. You want me to come on? I'll come on the show, bro.
I would love for you to come on. Absolutely. Because the co-host isn't going to be there this weekend. It's his wife's birthday. So yeah, that would absolutely be awesome if you would do that. It's on noon on Saturday. If you can break free, that'd be fantastic.
Dude, if this hurricane comes through here like it's supposed to, I don't think we're supposed to be going to Charleston. Okay. But if the hurricane comes through like it's supposed to, we may not be going, and I'll be free on Saturday to join you.
Fantastic. Okay. The date of this taping is November 9th. This won't air until for a couple of weeks, but
All
yeah,
right.
I'd love for you to be on. So after
All
the fact, I hope everybody enjoyed that Facebook Live. Here's the last question. If you had to start over, what is one thing that you did that you would change?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say I would have been more serious. I would have been quicker to fire people. I think what I ended up doing that really slowed down my growth was I really mixed friendship and business. It is because I wear my feelings on my sleeves. And so I don't ever want to hurt anybody. I don't want anybody to think that I disrespect them or think less of them. And so firing somebody was a really difficult thing for me because I didn't know how to separate the two. I didn't know at that time how to position myself as JP, the businessman,
Right.
and then still have them understand that, hey, like as human beings, man, like I really still care for your well-being and your family and all that other stuff. And I held on to a lot of people that I probably shouldn't have for a lot longer than I should have. So that would be the thing that I would change. Like if I were to start over again and I were to change it, it'd be like learn how to, this sounds terrible, but it's part of business. Learn how to fire somebody quicker.
People think military guys are all tough and calloused and whatnot, but you're all scars on the outside and you're big mushy on the inside.
100%, dude.
Got a big heart. But yeah, I can relate to that. Absolutely.
You're a big teddy bear, buddy.
Yeah, something like that. All right, JP, before we clear out, do you have any final words, anything that you need to plug?
No, I would say the one thing that I've noticed over 6 years, I've done almost like I've been in this thing for 6 years and I've been coaching real estate investors through it from startup to high net worth individuals that don't have systems. And what I've realized, bro, and for you and all your listeners, it's 20% technical, 80% mindset.
Yep.
And so your mindset is one of the most important pieces to this game because there's a lot of ups and downs in this game, man. One of the things that I always try to impress upon people is like, we need to work on having higher lows and lower highs. And just think about that for a second, having higher lows and lower highs, right? So it's not 1 minute we're at the top of the mountain and we're screaming, and the next minute we're in the pit and we're cussing everybody out. Yeah. It's like understanding how to celebrate the wins and then also at the same time know that there's going to be a valley. And then it's like, instead of having these spikes, it's just having these, it's just like a nice, smooth sound wave. And I think mindset is the biggest piece. That's really through all the coaching that I've done. Most of my calls have been around mindset. Even though they were hiring me to teach them about real estate, I had to get them in the right mindset first. Yeah. For your listeners, the piece of advice that I would have is having a real estate coach to teach you the technical part is one, but also having a coach to teach you on the mindset is probably more important than anything because it's not just real estate. It goes over all of your life. But I know that you're a coach. I'm a coach. We have access to so many amazing coaches out there. And so I would just urge your listeners to always have a coach that they're being coached by.
I have my appointment at 1:30 on Saturday, buddy. Absolutely.
Yep. Mine's tomorrow.
Totally agree. JP, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how would they do that?
Yep. So on all my socials, it's at jpkilduff.me.
Nice. All right. JP, thanks a lot. I really appreciate this. Hopefully somebody gets some value out of this, and I will look forward to talking to you again, my friend. Everybody, thank you very much. This is Bud Evans signing off. Until next we meet, aim high.
Hoorah!